Hi, you're listening to Book Chat with author Vivian E. Moore.
Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode. We really appreciate you joining us. This podcast really shows us how we can all learn, live, and thrive off of each other. By sharing our knowledge through our conversations, we will impart some knowledge whilst learning ourselves how to progress even further. Here is your host.
Hello and welcome to Book Chat. I am your host, author Vivian E. Moore. I hope everyone had a great week, and I hope you are having a great weekend wherever you are on the planet. All right, so we're going to get started on today's show, and the title of the show is My Heart Will Go On, and the topic is Overcoming Manuscript Rejections. When I look at today's title, I can't help thinking about Celine Dion and the movie Titanic. And no matter how many times I've watched what has become a classic, I always wish for a different conclusion. I want Rose and Jack to reach dry land and a happy ending. Alas, only one of them reaches the shore, and therefore there was no happy ending, at least for them. But, even if that was their story, that doesn't mean your story has to end after rejection. Not that Rose rejected Jack. He did the very gentlemanly thing by giving her the board, and then he stayed in the water. So just to get that straight, so you know that I did watch the movie and I know all the details. All right, okay. So, I know that you feel heartbroken, as I do. And, once your manuscript gets rejected, but what's the point of trying, you think to yourself, if no one sees how brilliant your writing skills are? Because you've written an amazing story, but no one will ever get to read it because some mean publisher rejected it. Oh, it's just so heartbreaking, isn't it? Well, once authors understand that publishing is a very competitive industry, they will approach it, hopefully, with achievable expectations. So you have to go into the game with full knowledge. So don't despair, but do come equipped with your A game. Okay? All right. So although publishers are persnickety, I like that word, they have many reasons why they might reject one's manuscript that have nothing to do with how it's written. Okay? Just wanted to make sure you are aware of that. All right. So one reason is it may be too trendy. Perhaps that particular publisher isn't searching for a story like that one or like yours, or it's not a good fit for their brand. So, they have every right to pick and choose who they want to publish and what type of manuscript they want to publish. So, we can't take anything away from them or take anything away from the writers. It is what it is, okay? But another reason why a manuscript may be rejected is that they only publish specific genres. Okay, well, just for explanation, for instance, they list romance and give a detailed description of the subgenre, i.e. historical, inspirational, and YA. So those are the only subgenres that they have listed for romance, okay? But you feel that the speculative subgenre is still worthy of recognition regardless of whether it's listed. Okay, so you're setting yourself up for failure. Let me just tell you that, because that is not how it works in the publishing industry. And so you shouldn't be disappointed when it's rejected. All right. One primary reason for rejection is that your audience isn't broad enough to reach readers across a broader spectrum. So this is another example of why your manuscript may be rejected, or it doesn't add substantial value that would dictate taking a risk to publish your work. In layman's terms, if they can't make a profit, then of course they're not going to publish you. Okay. All right. So besides any of those reasons for refusal, many other reasons exist that are writer related. Okay. I have to be fair in this. All right. So now comes the painful truth. The first of these is not following submission guidelines. Attention to detail on the front end is significant to how well you follow directions. Publisher requests can be very detailed and followed as prescribed. Okay, so they tell you what they want, what they're looking for, and they expect you to follow those details of what they've asked. Okay. Otherwise, it'll go straight to the slush pile. Okay. Now, another cause for rejection is unedited manuscripts. Yes, some publishers advise to submit the first few chapters and don't worry about editing because they feel as though if your writing is good enough, all of that can take place on the back end. All right. But still, if your work is filled with numerous typos and misspelled words, it may be attributed to poor writing skills, subpar writing tools, or just plain laziness. Okay? So before you hit that submit button, you need to make sure that you have gone over your manuscript, the first few chapters anyway, with a fine-tooth comb. Make sure you have punctuated it, you have spell checked, you have done everything that you need to do to those first 3 chapters before you hit that button. Because once it's gone, it's gone. But the good thing about that is, even if they reject it, that particular publisher rejected, you can submit it again. But I would suggest looking at all the details before you do it the second time. All right? Okay. So, all of these are valid reasons, but you need to remember to always place your best foot forward from the beginning, because it's better to start on the right track than having to backtrack. I hope you got that. All right. So a further reason for rejection is your writing requires improvement. Now, this necessarily isn't a negative outlook, but a positive one. Okay. Stay with me now. All right. So yes, your manuscript was still rejected, but you received feedback with notes detailing your strengths and your weaknesses. So that's a plus. Okay. So whenever you receive a rejection letter, if you receive a rejection letter and it gives you pointers on what was wrong with that, then it helps you to know how to fix it so you don't make that mistake again. All right. But on the upside, a single no doesn't stop the show. Okay. So thank goodness there are many paths to publication. Yes, you want to go the traditional route because it means validation, and in some cases, vindication. Still, there is no reason why you can't become an independent author while you're waiting for your break to come. All right. As a test, you want to discover how your talent will be received before submitting more substantial work to industry professionals. If it shows promise from a smaller perspective, imagine what can happen on a broader scale. All right. So you always have to see the bigger picture. All right. Always think outside of the box. And I know that these are cliches, but still, they hold some truth and they make sense. All right. So the bottom line is rejection isn't the end of the world, as you know it. And rejection is something everyone experiences at some point in their life. And it doesn't even have to apply to writing. It could be on, some other level. But anyway, the point is to take it in stride. All right. Learn from the mistakes and keep it moving. That is essential. Okay. Yesterday's rejection is not a precedent for failure. Only accepting defeat as the final answer is. Okay. So if you want to give up after a few tries, and get depressed and, get in your feelings and all of that, because, they rejected it and so they might reject the next one and that one and that one. And that may be true. But the key element to all of this is to keep going, keep submitting, because you never know. If you stop, then, you may never reach that goal of being published by a traditional publisher. But if you keep going, I don't care if you get 50 no's, keep going to the 51st is a yes. Okay. So submit, repeat, submit. There is no limit, and you can reach the stars or a happy ending when you overcome rejection. All right, folks, so that's it for today's show. But before I leave you, I want to make sure that I give you these URLs so you can stay in contact with Book Chat. All right, so the first one is https://www.spreaker.com/user/author Vivian E. Moore. You can follow me on all social media platforms, which includes Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Instagram is God's Property 51, and Twitter is God's Property 46. And you can just type in my name at Facebook, either author Vivian E. Moore, and it should bring up my profile. All right. And also, you can check out my website if you so desire, and that is at author Vivian E. Moore, https://www.authorvivianemore.com or authorehshepard.com, and also my blog, which is at https://vivianemore.blogspot.com. And if you missed today's live show, you can listen to the recorded episode on Spreaker, Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Castbox, Deezer, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, YouTube, SoundCloud, GileSavin, Audible.com, Verbal, Luminary, and hopefully soon Amazon Music. All right, so those are all the places where you can listen to Book Chat. And tomorrow is Worship Day. It is the first Sunday. I always get excited about that because that means it is Communion Sunday. So I hope that you are preparing for that. Even if you can't attend, church on the regular in the brick and mortar building, hopefully you can still attend, whether it is over the internet, over the phone, however you choose to worship. That is completely up to you. And also stay safe because COVID is still running rampant. And also be mindful of those that you care about the most. So it is so important to let them know how you feel. So on that note, I love you. I hope you love me back. Until the next time you hear my voice, God bless you and goodbye.
Loved what you've heard on this week's episode? Well, the answer is simple. It would mean the world to us if you could head over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review and feedback. Spreading the word really is the best way to grow our podcast and achieve even greater things. Thank you.